Welcome to the Wake Up Dad Show. This is episode number 33.
Wake up, Dad!
Are you confused and overwhelmed about your role in all the craziness that is being a dad? Are you struggling to create the life you hope for? Are you looking for other dads to share your struggles and your triumphs? Or do you just need help waking up in the morning? Join your host, Dr. Scott Vatcher, as he explores the amazing and sometimes crazy world of being a dad. This is the Wake Up Dad Show.
Hey Dad, and welcome to another episode of the Wake Up Dad Show. This show is dedicated to you, the dad who wants more success, time, health, fitness, connection, passion, and all-around awesomeness. I'm your host, Dr. Scott, and on today's episode, I wanted to randomly open Facebook and talk about the first thing that popped up in my feed, because I wanted to just really have a chat with you really around Facebook, around social media, and around, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is it beneficial to us as a society, or is it hurting us as a society? Because there's some really awesome things about it, like, a podcast, for example. I'm just so excited to continue to do this podcast. Getting lots of great feedback from you guys out there, so thanks. Keep that up. Head on to iTunes, give me a rating, subscribe to the podcast, so you can keep getting these episodes delivered directly to your listening devices. And today I actually recorded another episode with the brand new, and I'm super excited to announce, brand new guest co-host of the Wake Up Dad Show, Dr. Evan Hill. He was interviewed within the first couple of episodes, so go back and have a listen to that to find out who your new co-host is. And we recorded our first episode together today. We go way back. We are old friends of 20 years ago, and we both went to chiropractic college together. And I moved over here, and he stayed in Toronto. We're both married. He's got 3 kids. I've got 1. So time goes on, and you sort of lose connection. But through this dadhood movement, we've reconnected, because he's got a real passion for helping dads as well. And so our first episode is a cracker. In Aussie slang, it's a cracker, mate. So it was a blast. So much fun to record that episode. I'm going to get that out to you guys within the next week or two, so have a look for that. So, Facebook for things like that, for me being able to message him and stay in contact with him. Back in the days, not that long ago, I would have had to get on the phone, dial long distance. I just went into Facebook Messenger, clicked the little icon up in the corner, and boom, we were on the phone together, and we recorded an interview for you guys out there for Wake Up Dad. So, in some ways, it's amazing, and it's a really great way to get your message out to a grander audience, on Facebook. But what I really despise, I guess, about Facebook is the posers. And I've talked to you about this recently. I guess this is a little rant thing that's going on for me at the moment, is this idea of, people get down. There's some studies, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but something like some type of inverse relationship with the number of friends you have on Facebook and your chances of being diagnosed with depression. So, the higher the number of friends you have on Facebook, the more likely you're going to be diagnosed with depression. And, that sort of leads down the idea of, are we getting lost in our devices? Are we? And hey, I'll be the first to admit that, my daughter numerous times say, "Dad, get off your phone and play with me," and she's right. We really shouldn't be using it as a crutch. I think if we utilize it the right way, it is a phenomenal resource for getting a message out, for spreading the word, for having people really take control of their lives and do lots of awesome things. But I think too many of us use it as a crutch and use it as a filter for how our own lives should be. And we look at these posts, and there's so many of these amazing posts, and somebody's always on holiday, right? Like one of your friends around the world at any given time is on holiday. So you see it, and you see them doing all these amazing things, and you're like, oh, I should be doing those amazing things. I haven't had a holiday for this long. But, next week they're not on holiday anymore, so they don't post. And so you just constantly get this barrage of posing, is what I'll call it, but this barrage of good. And it really can get you down. So I think that's probably why the inverse relationship in that study, and don't quote me on that study because I don't know, I heard it somewhere along the way. But, guys, it's just, I say it all the time, I wish we could go back to pre-internet days. Listen to the dinosaurs talking here. I wish we could go back to the days where if you wanted to get a hold of me, either I had to be home and you had to call, or we had to meet somewhere, or you saw me when you could. Like we decide we're going to get together when we decide a place and a time, and we get there on time. That's a whole other rant that I may go on with at some other point, is this idea of, and hey, I'm guilty of it too, is that because we've got a phone that we can text message now, we're late all the time. Oh, I'm running 5 minutes late. Oh, another 5 minutes. Oh, the half hour. And then the other side is better and okay with it because they got a phone to friggin' waste their time while they're waiting for a half hour for the person who's late. So it works both ways in that case. But I digress on that one. So this first post, sort of rambling on here a little bit. This first post actually came up from a friend of mine, Lawrence Tam. He was interviewed in I think he was the very first episode of the Wake Up Dad Show. So go back and check out this guy, Lawrence. Great post. I'll read it out. Accepting defeat and moving forward. A lot of people woke up this morning to fear, shock, and utter disbelief. But for some, at least in America, there are a group of individuals who are rejoicing. Last night I realized the emotions and conversations that I was having regarding the state of the U.S. elections were charged and fueled with many types of emotions. But as I woke up this morning, I recognized something pivotal in my thoughts. No matter what we feel about this election, the results are in. There's very little that any of us, including the American people, can do today to change this. You may not like it, but the time to change this reality is come and gone. We have to accept that. But it doesn't mean we have to take it lying down. This also holds true in our lives, our businesses and practices. There are certain things you can influence, and there are things you can't. What we can change, we should. What we can't, we need to accept. We can complain about regulations, rules, unfair treatment, etc., but complaining about circumstances doesn't change the conversation. Doing something about it and influencing the future does. Whether you like the outcome of your circumstances or not, focus on how you can contribute using your genius to have an impact that reaches beyond you to those you serve in the world you live in. I leave you with my favorite quote called Serenity Prayer by the American theologian, not sure how to say that one, Reinhold Niebuhr. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. That's a great quote. And really, this is sort of going on from the last episode where I talked about Trump getting in and the fact, you can't change that. It's funny how it's come up again in this very first quote that came up on Facebook for me. Is that we can change certain things in our lives and other things we can't. And the wisdom, the true way to figure out if you are doing a good job in this world, in this reality, and let's specify it down to dadhood, is to know which ones you can change and which ones you can't. Because as much as we want to mold our kids into the things that we weren't, or the things that they don't want to be, or whatever the case is that we ultimately do not have control over their lives. We can help guide them and teach them ways to start to interact with themselves and others in the way that we want them to, but in the end, it's going to be their choice. And there's a certain amount of control that we need to give up in order to have our kids actually grow and develop the way that we actually want them to. So, with that in mind, guys, as a dad, if you're listening out there, keep in mind the things you can change and the things you can't change. Work on the 5 Ps. Work on your purpose if you haven't. Work on your power. Get in shape. Feel good about yourself. Eat healthy. Get healthy, because that impacts every area of your life. Work on, of course, your parenting, your dadhood. Work on your providing. Make sure that's stable and make sure you're happy and you have a purpose wrapped up in your providership. And get that passion back, guys. That's such a key, vital component to us having amazing lives and being the best dads possible. So that's it for today, guys. Dr. Scott signing off. And remember, an ancient proverb once said, "For a man to achieve his dreams, he must first wake up." Dad, this is your wake-up call. You're not in this alone. We are in it together. Get in touch with me if you have any questions or you want to make any comments. www.thewakeupdadshow.com.
Do you want to know more about the Wake Up Dad movement? Go to www.thewakeupdadshow.com to download any and all past issues of the show, claim your free gift, or to directly ask Dr. Scott any questions you have. Continue the conversation on the Facebook group Wake Up Dad. Share this podcast with other dads on iTunes or Google Play. Make sure to subscribe to the show and give us a rating so we can reach more dads. And dads, one last thing. Wake up!